47th President of the United States.
It's the biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
Trump, once again elected to the White House, leaders around the world congratulating him on his historic comeback. But there is one leader who apparently has no plans to congratulate him. Russia's Vladimir Putin, according to the Kremlin.
When asked the question about why hasn't Vladimir Putin congratulated President-elect Donald Trump, he said, let's not forget that we're talking about an unfriendly country that is both directly and indirectly involved in a war against our state.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
I got double boomered there, guys. We'll try it again. Greetings and good afternoon on this wonderful Tuesday. It's great to see you all here. I hope you were having an extraordinary day after a nice, long, and relaxful weekend. I didn't even notice if there were any events going on that would have disrupted anything around the planet because, well, there were a bunch of geezers involved, and I don't think they could, muster enough energy to disrupt anything. Especially their lunchtime, because a lot of them were done by 2:30 in the afternoon. Look, it's great to see you guys. I am pretty excited about today. I hope you are too. We got a lot of stories out there, so we're going to be hustling through them. I only got about 2 hours to get through this program, so I'll just say thank you to all the amazing wrenches out there, the lovely Juliet and Lord Toth and everybody else that showed up. And I just want to say thank you. For those of you on Green Machine, it's good to see you as well. I shouldn't be muted now. I should be heard by everyone, I hope. I double boomered. It was crazy. I had muted here and I'd apparently muted the stream. I don't normally do that, but I think I did it because I didn't want you to hear me breathing through the intro. That might have been it. Anyway, look, the world around us is insane. It's through no fault of our own. And we're going to have to deal with it as it happens, which is one of the reasons I started this show, and I wanted to be here with you all. Let's get into the stories as they come and go, and we'll talk ourselves through them. If you want to comment, please feel free to do so. The easiest ones to see are wonderful things like this from the great and powerful Dragon Queen, who says, dropped my review early. I didn't see it yet. I didn't get a notification. I'll go check for it after the show. In the review. Okay. The reason is in the review. It's exciting. I know. Yeah, no, I'm glad you're keeping at it. I know it was going to be a struggle. Hugs for all. Hope you like your bear. I actually will be checking also after the show because I completely forgot yesterday. I'm so sorry, dear. Lauren is in the house saying in 2013, Trump stated a government shutdown means the president is weak. Since then, he became the person who was president during the two longest shutdowns in U.S. history. Interesting. Yeah, I would say if you look at what's happening behind the scenes, he may not have been informed of what in a position of power, just holding your position and being quiet or cagey could get you. It's weird. Whoever actually creates the shutdown is usually the one that's blamed for it, if you want to look at what history means, Lauren. But the most of these situations occur because somebody who tries to use political leverage at a time when it's the most inappropriate. It's interesting, but Chuck Schumer said something very similar, Lauren. If you remember, he's like, you don't want to shut down. He gave a series of reasons. I don't even care what he said anymore. But this whole shutdown was shenanigans, so they could try to get the other party to bow on a $1.5 trillion spend on all of their policy positions. The budget continuing resolution that Schumer had voted for, I believe 13 consecutive times, just continues what the Biden level of spending. What they don't like is that they lost in policy on a vote during the big, beautiful bill. And that's it. I mean, that's the honest truth. Guys, I'll react to any of that stuff. I'm just going to tell you what actually is occurring. Right now, Democrats' numbers are going down, and believe it or not, Trump's numbers went up. Unlike the previous shutdowns, there were actually 2 under Trump, I believe, before this. And during those 2, I think he lost 3 points, or at least during one of them. So this time around, he gains 1, and this time around, the Democrats are losing points. So when you make it clear that the American people aren't your priority, but the illegal aliens are, the American people are done with that. And the Republicans had no choice but to stand pat. And we're starting to see a cave in. So we may be done with this by the end of the week. And then I'll have to come up with a new countdown or reason. So, but it's fine. Morgan King's in the house. It's great to see you. I hope you're doing well. We've got a few other folks sliding in, like Senator Hammerschlag, Sander, and Lombardi is here. What's going on, Lombardi? And the North. I hope everybody in Canada is awakened to the fact that you keep electing globalists. And if your leaders are wearing WEF pins during interviews or on broadcasts, you're already screwed. So the WEF is a very evil organization, and basically they've entirely captured the EU. So you end up with massive failures under industrialized economies that were leading your group of countries forward. Of course, I'm referring to Germany, who basically, once they had to go green, had to take down all kinds of things that made much more sense than any of the green stuff that's tried to be explained to anyone. So there's that. We've got Kim out there. Good to see you, Kim. And a few other people sneaking in, like Wolfgang Prime. It's good to see you. It sounds like you have an interesting story about your writing partner. That's pretty cool. Libby Priest is out there. Great to see you, Libby. And of course, Mark's 47. I saw Maddie in here earlier. Thanks for being here, Maddie. And of course, Ted Man Talking, reminding me that I was muted. So did Weatherman, and so did Mute Baumhammer. Yeah, guys, oopsie. Yeah, I double muted myself. It was crazy. Frank's here, though. Good to see Frank's. Frank is always here, it seems like, and that's wonderful. Is that a boomer mic? Yeah, so if I graze this little audio interface in front of me, it has a mute feature that if it feels a tactile touch, it just mutes. And then I had also muted, I believe, while I was trying not to breathe during the intro, the main interface for EV Mux. So there's that. Adam, excuse me, I got to say this right. Alan, CC rules. Thank you. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Awesome ones in the chat, and we've got, as I mentioned, Lord Thoth and Penny, and all of the great people. I'm just blessed with all of this incredible chat. Dark Hierophant is in the house. Good news. Today's Toys R Us is expanding their stores nationwide in the U.S., of course. Cali is only getting one store because who would expand retail there? Crazy people. You could only expand it in the one county that still has law and order. That's the only place you could do. For the folks over on the green machine, it's nice to see that Cat Slave is not the only one over there, with Weatherman joined in, and of course a couple other folks that are sliding in and lurking. Pam is here. Pam, I hope you're doing well. Wow, there at Culture Casino. Big trouble in Dublin, Ireland tonight. Really, I haven't had a chance to check, but that's actually where the NFL football player, was attacked when they decided to take the game international. I have a strong feeling that in the future, those particular athletes are going to be fair game for some people in Europe, and I don't think that's great. Randy is here, Randy Daytona. Good to see you. And of course, we've got Leif Erikson here as well. Cyrano, I hope you're being safe, my friend, and doing well. Popsicle is joining us this evening. And man, you guys are on fire in the chat. I can't keep up. Cam's out there. He just got his kicks by trolling Obama back then. That's true. But again, the way to shut down a government is for the purposes of just continuing resolution until you can get money appropriated where it needs to go. I think there should be 12 appropriation bills a year. I don't think we should be doing it the way we're doing it now. And I think any and all policy bills should have to be the size of an index card at 12 points print, neatly typed at the densest. I think that by having to limit the bill you put out and have so many caveats in it, I think it should be legible and everybody can digest it easily. I don't think you should have any bill that's 1,500 pages long. I think that's ridiculous. But there's that. Look at all these great humans in the chat. You guys are on fire today. Mark Daly's out there. Good to see you, Mark. Hope you're doing well. Saying, so this was why they put off the shutdown. A last hurrah for the geezer hippies. That's exactly what happened. In fact, we're going to take a look at that a little deeper into the program, probably about 15 minutes away if you want to set your watch. But we got we got something coming out of the UK. Look, there's an account on X called Defund the BBC that I think is fun to follow because the BBC is so in the bag for the socialist governance of the WEF and the current leader in the UK, Herr Starmer, who threatens other people in other countries that they're going to come and get us. Yeah, I don't think so. But it's funny because they're proven liars, and they're right now there's literally being caught up in the fact that of all those aggressively combing their hair gangs that are over there. Because I'm on a platform that doesn't like to use the word that would be better than saying primping. Regardless, there's a bunch of those types of situations over there that have been going on for a long time. And Sadiq Khan, who's a disingenuous person, I don't even know how he's allowed to lead anything in the country, but that's a different conversation and why I hate parliamentary systems. But I think here in this country, we're going to be looking at a law soon enough that will change a lot of that stuff. Anyway, regardless, let's take a look at this terrible human being known as Bob Villain. There's a reason that he's the villain, guys. And here you go. So from Defund the BBC, oops, Bob Villain let slip that BBC staff loved his death to the IDF chant. You guys saw that? I think I played that at some point. But of course, BBC faithful Louis Theroux, who's no bueno, tries to play it down, but Bob Villain just can't help spilling the beans. The corporation is rotten from the top to the bottom, as is much of the governance in the UK right now. And let's play a little bit of this. This is 45 seconds long, so let's tune in.
But just to kind of show how mundane the whole thing was, it wasn't like we came off stage and everybody was like, it's just normal. We come off stage, it's normal. Nobody thought anything. Nobody. And even staff at the BBC were like, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. We love that. And I was like,
that's such an NPC maneuver, though, isn't it? It's like any band comes off, you go, you smashed it, fantastic.
No, but that was like, this was a couple hours later, because it took us a little while to get, but like, they've nobody at the BBC at that time was there like, oh my gosh, you know. But it was very normal. But just to kind of show how mundane the whole thing was. It wasn't like we came off.
Yeah, he's trying to say we were praised after that gig. If that's the case, you got some problems at the BBC that, well, everybody knew about. But this guy's kind of a scumbag. He's his entire tour run here completely canceled. In fact, I think that's a pretty good practice if you have people that are attacking you, your leadership, attacking your country, your governance. I think it's a privilege to play in the United States or anywhere else in the world. And as much as I appreciate free speech, I mean, you're free to say whatever you want. The problem is there's something called accountability that shows up. And yeah, and not for silly reasons. Like, there you go. Wolfgang Prime says, "Gotta get you in Gucci so we can call you." Hang on, so we can call you Couture Casino. I have Gucci. I have Gucci. I have some very stylish stuff that I can wear on rare occasions. Um, really, this version of Culture Casino is more down to earth. In fact, once I'm done with today's show, I'm headed out to work on the gardens and use my hands to build more um, runs for vegetables. In fact, I'm building three 9-foot beds that are 30 inches wide to put in carrots and a few other things. So I'm planting all the fall crops now and the ones that grow quickly. Carrots have a less than 60-day cycle. So do radishes. Radishes are just around a month, believe it or not. But there's a lot of things that I want to get in the ground soon. So, but anyway, that was Bob Villain. If you haven't heard of him, he's the equivalent of a scumbag. He is the guy that used to play with Jack Black, kind of a scumbag. So, anyway, we had a weekend, as I described before. I told you to set your watch for this one. It didn't really amount to much. The really gray geezers, or what I guess the media call Q-tips, showed up for it, and that's about it. Several news outlets lied about the attendance at these events. One of them, I think it was CNN. No, it was PMSNBC, showed an aerial shot of the 2017 Women's March and said that that was what was happening on the ground for the No Kings protest. They really do try to make these things, and really all it does is identify the most vulnerable Democrats that anybody could find. The critical thinking is often absent, and that's just the way it is. For those of you who are watching on X, it's great to see the 23 of you right now. I know that's not a big number, but it's a big number on X if they stick around. So let's take a quick look at some of the demonstrations and tolerance, or as I call them, mechanized violence on one political side or the other. And I have a story to finish this off, talking about what actually happens at some of these events and how long they last. It's usually not very long. But before I do that, I just want to say shout out to our friend Cyrano 2960 for a super duper chat for 5, saying, "I believe that some are hoping that military and federal workers will rebel. It hurts, but we will be stronger in the end. Stronger." No, I agree with you. We'll definitely be stronger in the end. And I know it hurts. And for my friends who work in the government, it super sucks right now. For military and others, I mean, there's going to be checks that are going to be missed. You have what I consider crucial social program things that are under threat. I mean, they certainly couldn't give out WIC or any of these other things. And the only reason to do this was to try to make some political points and move the polls. And at the same time, it hurts the constituency of the group that's, well, against, bringing the government back. It's very strange. Pretty easy to look at it that way, and very effective nonetheless. Let's take a look at the stuff I'm talking about. Oh, well, One more super chat. Let's get this from our good friend C&D Design saying, "What up, CC? I highly recommend a Japanese maple or two when I get moved, of course. Yeah, when I get to Tennessee, a couple Japanese maple for sure. And apparently I'm going to be growing more kumquats. I didn't know this. I guess there's footage of my greenhouse adventures. I don't know. Somebody did that. We'll see. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, my friend. Just saying, hail the rebellion. Hail the rebellion indeed. I wish I was wearing the rebellion hat, but I went back to the Make America Great Again. Yeah, which doesn't have kings, just in case you were wondering. There's no kings in America, but there's a lot of people that like to, uh, be featured on Defiant L's, apparently. Let's let's take a look at that. Shall we? Anyway, let's do it. All right. Why didn't it transfer? Oh, there it is. All right, here we go. So Defiant L says, "Are you feeling the love and tolerance?" No. Protester, remove the president or there will be violence. Well, let's see what she has to say. Look at this person.
Get this man out of here now. But if that doesn't happen, and we're not promoting it for 1 second, but if that doesn't happen, there will be violence. Yes. And these people had the opportunity to stop it. And they didn't.
Does she sound like sound, mind, and body? She's, again, when we comment on the fact that there seems to be an awful lot of violence and incitement on the left side of the equation. This might be an example of that. I don't know. If you step back from it a little ways, maybe you can see this isn't a good look.
Get this man.
Well, that was the end of the clip. Bummer. But, she's not the only one that's, Cracker Barrel. I mean, there's a lot of that. But this is Savannah Hernandez, who's a front lines reporter. She's going to talk to you about what was going on with the No King protesters. And this is interesting because, there's Jesse Waters who actually triggers people for some reason. I don't know. But that's who we're going to take a look at next. This was crazy. Let's watch this clip.
So, Jesse, there were two different factions of protesters. We had the one faction who had no idea why they were there, no idea why they were protesting. They were simply programmed by CNN or whatever liberal mainstream media they'd been listening to, and they were there. You had the other faction of protesters who were there to call for political violence against their opposition. So I read signs reading, all Nazis go to hell. And of course, it was MAGA supporters and it was ICE that were depicted as said Nazis. You also had a woman holding a sign depicting a guillotine with a single MAGA hat on the bottom. So very clear that these people were either unaware why they were marching, or they were marching on behalf of illegal immigrants and domestic terrorist organization Antifa. Another thing that I witnessed was people holding up signs with AOC, Bernie Sanders, Zohran Mamdani, and Gavin Newsom's face with big bold letters reading Antifa. So I don't know if they were trying to tell the truth about the Democratic Party or if they're trying to water down what Antifa truly is, which is a violent domestic terrorist organization. So that's what I saw on the ground. Another thing too, Jesse, which I thought was really interesting, is initially in New York, that's where I was. You had thousands of people that were there. So yes, there was quite a large crowd. But then as soon as 1-2 hours passed by, the entire crowd completely dissipated, kind of like they were off the clock and they all just disappeared. It was really baffling to me because I have covered protests extensively for years at this point, and I have never seen a protest dissipate this fast.
That's interesting. Maybe they were on the clock.
It's funny because right now there has been very focused investigations into where the money comes from to make these events happen, or where the supplies and everything come from when you have the anti-FA people, strolling about and getting like gas masks and crap like that. We now know the 6 corporations. By the way, did you realize one of them was Warren Buffett? That helped to fund all this garbage this last weekend? I was kind of surprised. But actually, there's a full blown story on this, and it actually culminates in the fact that there were two people doing some hideous things that were part of these protests that were caught on camera, and they are now no longer possessing jobs. Thank goodness, because they were both teachers. But the violent symbolism and threats steal the show at nationwide No Kings protests. Department of Homeland Security is investigating a man who appeared to threaten President Donald Trump. This is the woman that used to be a teacher. This is from Nick Cook's video. This lady makes a horrible mime performance of what happened to Charlie Kirk. We're going to just watch this, not listen to it. There's some filthy language in it. Anyway, that lady used to be a teacher. She's not anymore, at least not at the moment. But as millions nationwide protested peacefully during the anti-Trump No Kings protests, by the way, you don't have kings in this country. That we have a system of checks and balances. We have a representative republic that practices a very controlled form of democracy and not mob rule. But anyway, Saturday, several now viral social media clips have overshadowed the day's events. So if there was good in them, nobody could see it. So in Chicago, a woman whom social media users identified as a K-8 STEM teacher with the Chicago public school system at Nathan Hale Elementary School. Yeah, she's no longer got a job. She's this woman here. Yeah, she seems pleasant.
Here's what the
She seems pleasant. Many online have called for her firing, while high-profile conservatives also reacted to the video. The most vile reactions to Charlie's murder have almost all been public school teachers and professors. I know that seems like overgeneralization. Maybe it is, but it seems like a very high percentage, I would say. And Andrew Colvett said on X, tells you a whole lot about what America's children are facing and why TPUSA is more important than ever. Well, there's that. So again, if you're out in public, you're going to be filmed. Sorry. That's one of the reasons why the government, tracks you with all kinds of video cameras and such. It's why you are never alone in a theme park or in a parking lot at a theme park or in a parking lot at a Walmart or in 1,000 other places or thousands of other places. So you're being constantly filmed. So your behavior is being monitored, just FYI. So everywhere in Chicago, or I should say elsewhere in Chicago, a man was captured on video yelling into a bullhorn that ICE agents should be eliminated, saying, you got to grab a gun. We got to turn around the guns on this fascist system. This is the guy right here. There's plenty of video on him. Yeah, he's not being a very nice person. And look, these are not isolated incidents. These are what the bigger part of the conversation ended up being, and not what was the focus, I guess, which was to say we don't have kings in this country. We already have a actual holiday that celebrates that. It's called the 4th of July, for those of you out there that are wondering. Anyway, I want to grab this real quick from our friend Wolfgang Prime saying, J.A. Collin on Substack. I'll have to check that out. She is posting blogs about our writing. You bet, my friend. Definitely. I'm also working on a prequel story, Friction Press, for our first novel. Awesome. Which we'll publish once the publisher approves or rejects it. Well, maybe if you have a difficulty, check out Rip Ascend, because it seems like that's a pathway. that a lot of people are going to take in the future. We also have several independent groups that I've supported in the past here in our fellowship that help people get things like that done. So let me know if you need help on that front or you're interested in me getting in touch with somebody. JPRPH1 saying hi to RC, who's also out there. And it's great to see you all supporting the channel today. Speaking of support, my goodness, you're generous today, folks. Thank you. We've got Eric Heffelfinger. Hey, what's going on? I love the irony of an wait, I didn't even highlight it. Let's try and highlight it. Eric Heffelfinger. I cannot say this. I struggle with names sometimes. I love the irony of an anti-authoritarian capitalist protest being funded by Soros and profited off, run by commies and socialists. Yeah, it doesn't seem to ring well. Our version of communism and socialism is supported by the billionaires, which Bernie Sanders actually called out, which was which is crazy because 5 of the elements that supported this whole thing for the Democrats and seem to also be the people that are making funds available for the radical groups like the anti-FA folks are all billionaires. I'm like, that's not ringing well, Bernie. You needed the billionaires to fund this hullabaloo. It's so funny to me. Con Lives is out there. Saw that. No. Bob Villain. Yeah, he did. He made that his name to mislead everybody. He's a villain, although he spells it VYLAN or something. He's crazy. Anyway, fake Bob Dylan. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. You guys, I love it. I love it. Everybody here's wide awake. I love that. Pam Ebsen is 100% right. She's actually over in the belly of the beast right now. The BBC is pure evil. Yep. Marketing identitarianism to children. Yay. Not actually reporting news, but what do they call that? When they trim it down to just the acceptable things. Oh man. I know the word. It's just not in my brain at the moment. Anyway. Yeah, the very select news items that you're allowed to know. You're allowed to hear. Yeah. Awesome one says, woohoo, 5 years late, Culture Casino's Garden Channel. That's true. Everybody knows how much of a garden freak I am. So true. But let's get back to the main conversation so it's easier to see you guys on this side of the screen. There you are. You're right there. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of bad humans in this planet. For sure. Sanders having fun with the with the emojis. Nursing home day out. Yeah, that's exactly what these protests were. And that's the thing. I mean, even the people in media were calling them out, calling them Q-tips. I think it was even a CNN person in media. So I think that's funny stuff. But I'm constantly surprised by Bill Maher. He's always trying to reach back and clutch at his liberalism, and I don't mind that, but he's at odds with what his own eyes and logic, what's being logically presented at him. It's one of the reasons why he commented about Charlie Kirk, because he had a very nice visit with Charlie Kirk, and I don't even know what was probably going through his mind at that point. He's like, I literally was talking to this guy a couple weeks ago. It's insane. Culture Casino, that is a Mark Levin saying. He seemed like a good guy. Helena J, how are you doing? The military is getting paid. Yeah, I thought that was what they were going to use with the tariffs for, which I think is great. You know, we've got this pool of money that keeps coming in. It's going to continue to grow. China's not making it, easy for Trump to like him or to like them anymore. we'll have to see what happens with the Chinese tariff deal. But I mean, the only way it can go up is if they keep doing dumb stuff like they did a minerals deal with Australia, despite protesting Western nations getting access. So it's very, very weird to do a rare minerals deal, but whatever. Mark Nichols is very generous today. Holy cow, my friend, dropping 20 Culture Casino memberships. Holy cow. Thank you. In fact, thank you for the cheddar. Oh, there's more of these coming, by the way, if you're interested. I'm not kidding.
Oh, man, that's some sweet cheddar. Guys. Yeah.
Thanks again, Mark Nichols. That's amazing. 20 Culture Casino memberships. Everybody's going green these days. It's amazing. Not that kind of green. Not the EU scam green stuff. None of that. We don't tolerate that here. Look at all of that. As Cyrano says, gifties. That's right. A lot of gifties. That's right. Love it. Penny went crazy with the gifties. Oh, one of the greatest Western stars ever. Tom Mix is in the house. Western governments have forgotten their reason for existence. Indeed. I tell you what, there are European governments waking up. Melania Maloney, I forget how to say her name. She's fantastic. The new guy in Poland, there's a bunch of European countries that are waking up and turning their backs on the green garbage and the EU. I have a feeling the EU is about to fall apart, which is good because they were really just supposed to be a trade unit and they weren't supposed to be a governance unit. And everybody who's on the side of the WEF is easily identifiable, and they're just completely bought off boneheads. Like, what's the name of the guy over at BlackRock? Larry Fink. Yeah, how would you forget Fink? Yeah, he's now the co-leader of that garbage. Man, you guys need to start suing BlackRock or whoever manages your funds for your 401k. Maybe we should put together a class action suit because everything he does is not representing your money well. It's all compromised by politics, ideology. That's not good. Helena says, Trump ordered POW. Oh, DOW, the Dow, to fund pay from the budget already paid out. They'll be paid on the 1st. Interesting. The Department of War. I got it. I was like, the Dow? What? The stock market's going to pay soldiers? No, it's the Department of War. It is what it is. Gaslighting. Yeah. Got a lot of that right now. You guys are on fire. I'm loving it. I can't even keep up with the chat. We got a beautiful chat. It's a beautiful chat. You guys are very beautiful. I'm going to improve. Someday I'll be able to do Trump's voice. It's huge. If Nick was here, he could do it. Got to get Nick on here sometime. Yep. Indeed. Jackie Delaney says they have figured out who is funding. They have. And George Soros himself and the Tides Foundation, which is George Soros. 2. They pointed out, I couldn't believe it. Warren Buffett's anti-American? That seems weird. Yeah. Speaking of George Soros, but not at all, I'd rather talk about the fact that George Santos got out of jail. There is a commutation I never would have seen happening because I don't think Santos was particularly favorable of Trump. And I don't know why Trump would even bother. But now there's a rumor that's definitely a rumor, and it's not going to happen according to sources inside the White House that they are going to commute Diddy's sense. No. Richard B says they're not winning anyone over except their own crazies. And that's the other problem. Like nobody on the left outside of Fetterman, to be frank, is willing to admit that they have a violence problem on the left. They do. For as disliked as he was, especially towards the end, and if we had such a great big racist problem, wouldn't have been elected in the first place, Obama never received this kind of guff. Who are the tolerant people? I ask you. Just saying. One of ours for 10 million of your bologna sausage. Yeah. We're in a weird place right now. But $1.5 trillion is we have no interest in continuing any garbage. We have no interest in restoring healthcare for illegals. Everybody voted to not have illegals here anymore. And the fact that they're still here is astonishing. And then there was media out today talking about the fact that there are illegal people in this country right now who have voted, who can vote because they live in certain states that give driver's licenses to everybody. One of those states with a huge immigration problem is Minnesota. Guess which one of the states is where you can vote illegally because you have a driver's license? Crazy stuff. Boy, they tried to run away from that. Didn't work because everybody knows now. It's a lot of crazy out there. A lot of crazy. Commander Ed Straker Shadow dropped a super duper chat for $2 and says, sadly, Warren Buffett and children have terminal TDS. Well, they are destroying the country by having that. And TDS is a weird thing. You know, I mean, I would have had Kamala S or whatever that is. KDS. I would have had KDS, I guess. You can't handle the truth. Actually, all of you can. All of you can. Thanks for being here today, everybody. Even though we had an early comment. And I will talk about almost any subject and comment as long as it's not filthy and it's not attacking one of the other people in the audience. The chat's sacred to me. These are my friends. So, and if you're approaching me as a friend in the chat, let's keep it civil. Mark Daly says the 4th of July is the date of the holiday. That's true. The actual name of it is Independence Day. That's also true, which was a decent movie. It was back when Will Smith was thought of as a really good actor and not a human cuck. Anyway, different conversation. Rise up, chat. That's right. Rise up. Take down the casino man. Oh, I love it. Today is great. Fenrir's on fire in the chat. Dean's here. What's up, Dean? KDS, Culture Casino. I will not take that personally. Yeah. Well, does anybody know what the KLF is? Anybody heard of KMFDM? Music I grew up with. My life with the Thrill Kill Cult. Anyway. All right. Let's get to it. Bill Maher, as I was starting to say about 20 minutes ago, seems to continually struggle and reach back for his liberalism when he starts to come too close to the truth. It's such the weird thing to watch. And yet it seems to happen to him every show. he's wobbling in a place that it makes his guests even uncomfortable. Let's take a look from GPA Indy and the capture they had from the Tickety Talk that seems to be so enamored with Belmar.
Now, I don't think most liberals are insane, but neither do they make it clear approve of the ones who are, and their cowardice in not marginalizing their own crazies has been their downfall. I couldn't get Neil deGrasse Tyson, a genius scientist and preeminent scientific voice in the media, to agree that it was ridiculous for Scientific American and The Atlantic to be claiming that separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Actually, it makes perfect sense. And it's obvious that it does. When conservatives see it, they say, I'm sorry, we're just not going to go along with reinventing society, often pointlessly, even if we have to cancel democracy to do it. They see gender as only a construct and sex is assigned at birth, and they say, we're not doing that. Transing kids by self-diagnosis.
Yeah, and so it's really weird, and I know this is from a couple weeks back, but it's equally true today. He's talking about how there's very, very wide differences between the ideology of the extreme left and the ideology of being a normal American citizen that grew up in this culture. And I think that's some of the other problems as well. But it's just these are the kinds of arguments and conversations that we shouldn't be allergic to. We should definitely be having them, and we should have them amongst each other, and we should be free to have them, and we shouldn't be censored when we're going to have them, and we shouldn't be censored by the words that we used, and we shouldn't be censored by what somebody feels or if they're uncomfortable with or they're offended, because I don't care. I mean, I hear filthy words all the time, and while I choose not to use them very frequently, oftentimes late at night, my tongue gets a little more loose and I'll say filth, slander, and filth, perhaps. That's an old joke, but it doesn't mean that that's the best way to express yourself or the best way to express how I'm feeling. So I just don't want people to be censored for that. I don't want people to be censored for saying transgender or anything else out there. I think it's wrong. And I think that I think that if you can't have a conversation about something, or you can't get light or shed light on something that's a little shady, I think that's a problem. Those are the things you shouldn't be censoring. You might censor things from children. There are things that are like, adult only conversations for sure. And there are films that are definitely rated R for a reason. But I wouldn't want children exposed to adult stuff until they're adults. And I think the longer you can keep their innocence intact, the less nightmares they're going to have later in life. That's just my opinion. But I'm just going to let you know I do not like censorship. And I've been censored on this platform more than a few times, and I'm tired of it. Hey, what's going on? Marcelo in the house. Good to see you. And thank you. Long love, Culture Casino. Thank you. Let's see. We've got Star Wade Nation. There you go. Look at that logo. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Davina Duckworth. The KLF. That's right. And Wolfgang Prime says, yes, I have heard of KMFDM. That's right. I used to, and by the way, so I have a very eclectic musical taste. So, and there's my buddy Razorburn. He knows Front 242. Oh man, Paradise is still one of my favorite songs. Hey, poor. Hey, poor. Hey, poor. You don't have to be poor anymore. Oh man. That's right, Marcelo. That's right. Yep. You guys know you're hip. I can't believe a lot of you guys know these references. This is amazing. Ah, man, I grew up at the best time. Music was so great. Music is so great. Hey, it's E. Clay Thomason. What's going on, buddy? Says I saw Culture Casino drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. That's right. It's actually true. Anyway. All right, we got more to talk about, but we got to get to these super chats because we've got Night Rabbit. What's up, Night Rabbit? By the way, when Pro gets your clip done, I'm going to review it and make sure it's right. Anyway, it says ever try jungle growth soil for your raised beds? Find it to be the best. What home stores is that in, or nurseries? Where can I find it? And hopefully it'll be in Tennessee when I get there, because I'm going to have like something like 130 foot long beds. And those beds are got to be like 30 inches wide. They're double planting beds. So I will go look for that though. Night Wabbit. For sure. Skinny Puppy. Indeed. I think I still have my concert t-shirt. Cat Slave says, I got permabanned from YouTube for saying, yeah. And see, this is a problem for this is still iffy for anybody to say. This statement that Cat Slave says, which is a problem in our world. We cannot speak the truth anymore. That's an issue. Ow, werewolves yonder. Ow, yeah. I used to be able to do that pretty good. I did covers of that actually at one point in time. That's right. The drug against war. And of course, Tendencies, can't say the first word. Great band. I am way behind. Okay, I caught up. I jumped to the front of the line, which means we got to go to something neat. Okay, I'm going to get some heat for this, but I'm doing it for you, and you deserve it because it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Moving on from Bill Maher. If you guys haven't noticed, been around, paid attention, there's a video game company that's been getting their clock cleaned by people because of some very poor decision making, because they allow people to target children on their platform, and they don't provide any way for that not to happen or prevent it themselves. And they've been called out by what used to be their fan community, but they're now about to have some comeuppance. This fellow here is the Attorney General, James Uthmeier. He's issuing criminal subpoenas to Roblox, which has become a breeding ground for bad people to gain access to kids. I'm going to play this for you. It's 52 seconds long. And this is, I guess, what's been going on now. Was dropped yesterday.
This is Attorney General James Uthmeier. Today, our office will be issuing criminal subpoenas to the online children's gaming company, Roblox. Roblox profited off of our kids while exposing them to the most dangerous of harms. They enabled our kids to be abused. Companies like Roblox have become breeding grounds for predators to get to and have access to our kids. These criminal subpoenas will enable us to gather more information for our prosecutors about the criminal activity taking place on Roblox platform. as well as evidence on the predators that are out there and the victims that are abused. At the end of the day, we will stop at nothing to fight to protect our kids, and companies that act carelessly and expose them to harm will be held accountable.
Wow. How many chief law enforcement folks in a state would do something like that? Just take aim at the biggest problem and solve it. I mean, there should be a bunch of other AGs lining up right behind this guy. Don't you think? By the way, this was one of the reasons why I did not continue to use Gilded, where we'd built up quite a big community for the Culturians. I'm now back to Discord, and that happened for a reason. So, Roblox is no bueno, and it wasn't lost on me that they were getting access to more and more information, and the whole reason that they wanted you to use that with Gilded wasn't very clear. So, yeah, a lot of people know what this is. Wolfgang Prime guest first. Ubisoft? No, but this is crazy stuff. And look, we have to protect the next generation. If not, we're failing as human beings, and we have to continue with another generation. And who recently said we got to start having a lot of kids, right? Do you realize that was one of the themes in Battlestar Galactica when it was redone? BSG, you know, the president wanted to eliminate the people from eliminating other humans because their numbers were dwindling, and she's like, we need people to have a lot of kids in order for the human race to survive. So we got to protect them, and this is part of protecting kids. So our friend Cyrano dropped a super duper chat. Thank you, my friend. A bit of a slippery slope. This is similar to the law in the UK that is hitting free speech. Make this specific. Indeed. Cyrano again with another another super chat. Says, my son is no longer on Roblox. Yep. Or Roblox. However you guys want to say it. I don't care. It's garbage. So thank you for that, Cyrano. And I know a lot of parents that have pulled their kids off of silliness like that. There's other things that enable it, but it is what it is. Sin says, I took my daughter off Roblox a couple of years ago. Yeah, this is not a big secret. This has been going on for a while. Good for you, Sin and Cyrano. You guys, that's amazing. Cat Slave says, I hate it when I start a chat and forget what I was going to say. I do that all the time, although usually it's a sentence. And usually you guys are like, I got hit by a Biden disease or something. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought you guys would be intrigued by that one because I was intrigued that somebody was actually going at him, and they did pretty hard, very hard in the paint. We need more of that. Gotta body the bad guys. Man, there was a lot this week. Derek Evans. I don't know. I might get hit for a claim here because of the music, but I'm still gonna play it. So, Derek Evans collected this from CNN host Cassie Hunt, who's probably one of the biggest liars on CNN. CNN, the Communist News Network, and commie's gonna commie, guys. That is what it is. So let's take a look at giving us fake news right on the air. Here we go.
Was a pretty interesting moment in a recent interview where Governor DeSantis talked about Trump supporters. He used the words listless vessels.
But he wasn't talking about Trump supporters.
Hold on. I'm going to play it for everybody, and then you can go ahead. Let's listen.
A movement can't be about the personality of one individual. If all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
Everybody just saw there that there was a cut. You cut from the beginning of that quote to the listless vessels. You just did what the problem is. So everybody who just watched that, understand, go read the transcript.
Okay, fine. So you summarize.
Boom! That was it. And this happens all the time. We don't get a lot of clean clips anymore. We all need to understand that. I at least try to edit my clips so that they include the context of the clip, and I may limit them for time and all of that, but I'm not cutting out context or anything else that was going on there. She got called out for being fake news because she was fake news live, and she is. She's one of the biggest liars at CNN there is, and she never apologizes for it. Never. Okay, all right. Feel free to think. Thank you. By the way, I love your name. Second, it's Roblox. Okay, thank you. I don't know. I have no interest in Roblox. I just only have interest in them protecting kids. I do have like a similar look to the big guy, but really, honestly, you can just call me CC, okay, or Culture. Yeah, the Atari 2600 didn't have that problem, did it, William? Still love that. Hey, Cam says Roblox has always been a little sketchy. Yeah. Cat Slave says, well, Culture, I'm a lot older than you. I don't know. Pretty old. Who else is out there? Theliato's out there. Good to see you. I still can't believe she kept trying to go on. Well, what did it say? I pull the transcript or play the clean clip. Problem solved. We do not hate the legacy media enough. It's so true, Cam. So true. Fenner's falling asleep. Don't fall asleep, brother. It's because of my silky, smooth tones. Richard's like, yeah, that's obvious cut. Caleb's like, I'm late, but I'm here. Well, I'm glad you're here, Caleb. Popsicle says, I need to watch some horror movies for Halloween. Maybe Werewolf and Werewolves the Undead. Yeah. Or The Mummy. Mummy's fun. Well, not that 99 Mummy. What? Okay. Mummy is fun though. Haven't seen either one in a very long while. And if you want a nice non-horror film is a National Treasure. So anyway, back when people recognized that it doesn't take a lot to make a good movie. Marcelo Lopez. CNN apologize. What is that? A bad joke? Well, probably a bad one. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'll try to remember to say Roblox, but there's a decent chance I won't remember after the show. That's the bad thing. Love your candor. Well, I'm a big supporter of the truth because to me facts matter. Truly. Let's see what else. Yeah, Ron DeSantis has done a great job in Florida. I am so happy for my friends that are in Florida. I really am. They have a good governor. I think he's term limited out though now. So I wish he hadn't overstepped his last run for the big office, but I imagine he'll end up somewhere in a administration real soon. Let's just put it that way. The commander is trying to remind everybody it's Cuddles Casino. That's back from 5 years ago. The lore on this channel is deep. Dean Krantz says, I remember when ABC rigged a gas tank on a Chevy truck to explode to show it was unsafe. Then we started getting rusted out gas tanks. Corporate media needs ad revenue, and that's why they're always lying to you. Oh, by the way, didn't they also rig the, what was that thing called? A Pinto? You remember the Pinto exploding? Hey, Newhouse Bruce says, Mr. Casino, do you feel the same is going on in Minecraft and Legos? I think Minecraft maybe a tiny little bit. I'm not sure about Legos. Probably not to that extent. Again, I mean, there's the predators use a lot of different techniques to rope young people. They really love chat rooms, though. Apparently, isn't that how what's his name used to get everybody in? Hey, come on in, have a seat. What was his name? Used to do that all the time. Catch all the bad people out there. Thought that was great. Chris Hansen, is that his name? Cat Wings. Not all hippies are stupid. I'm 72 and love culture. Me too. Well, of course. But look, I'm going to tell you a secret. My family, despite all the age ranges in it, all kind of have similar interests, and many of them are in their 80s. We have interesting conversations, and look, I'm often called a hippie. I'm not, but but I often am. And the fact that I'm interested in self-sufficiency is something that should clue everybody in. We've got a couple of people in the chat that are self-sufficient in ways I wish I was, but I'll get there. And again, I'm grateful for our elders, and you all should be too. They have a lot of knowledge to pass before they pass, and we need to collect it. You got to get good recipes, kind of their perspective on how to grow things, how to save things, how to revive things. It's a lot of stuff that's been lost to time because we did not do inquiry with our elders. Take a tape recorder to your great grandma and just have her talk about her life and everything she went through and the things that happened during the course of her lifetime, from a horse and buggy through the automobile. From old-fashioned trains to airplanes, from dial-up shared telephone lines through an operator to almost lightning speed internet. They've had a fascinating life and they've seen a lot. So just remember that. Randy Daytona says my ex-wife was in Van Helsing. Really? That's a fun film. I really enjoyed that one. I don't know if a lot of people did, but yeah. Caleb, what'd you say? Let's see. Let the dulcet tones of Culture Casino carry you off on an all expense tour of Dreamland. There you go. Closest thing to a horror film I can stand is The Lost Boys. Oh, that one's so fun. Man, isn't Kiefer great in that? He really is. Oh, that film was well built. It was very well built. C&D says, does that mean you forgot me after every show, CC? Not at all, my friend. I'm grateful to see you. I'm also grateful to see you in the mornings over on Jay's channel. For those of you who don't know, Jay has a new podcast he's had for over a year now. He's got almost, I think he actually crossed 6,000 subscribers on his channel over there. It's called Welcome to the Rebellion Podcast. He turned his podcast into a channel. With this particular show, I might do that. This may be a 5 days a week thing. So you guys are really making it possible with all the gifties and all the other support. I just want to say thank you to you guys. There's a member chat in the house from Larry. Larry, what's going on, Larry? Man, I can't read it over here. Let me see if I can pull it up on this side. Celebrate. There he is. But there's Larry. Larry's been around a long time. 3 months of membership. Yo, Culture, did you see Eddington yet? Andre dug it. Sadly, no. But I mean, Andre might be one of 15 people that saw it. Anyway, so I'm thinking you want me to watch it, so I can do that. Andre will probably send it to me, actually. That's the great thing about having great friends, by the way. I got to keep going. I'm behind because not only am I behind in the chat, but I have a lot of stuff to get to. So I just thought this was fun playing this total crash out and lie. Oh, I guess technically not a crash out, but a lie from CNN. I thought you guys would enjoy it. Clearly, I think I was right. It always surprises me when one of the news organizations actually tell the truth, or maybe that's just me. Look, one of the subjects that I put in today's description, I want to get to this one because it's actually in there, is the fact that, how do I say this? California isn't obeying the federal guidelines when it comes to traffic safety. They're giving people commercial driver's licenses that certainly shouldn't have them, that are outside of what they're supposed to do. So they're violating policy, which is bad. Because every state except for California complied with the U.S. Department of Transportation rules that you must speak English to have a trucking license. That makes sense, doesn't it? You must be able to read English and speak it. What happens at a traffic stop? You know what I mean? So California is being penalized to the tune of $40 million. Let's watch this real quick so we can follow what's going on. Here we go.
You're willing to withhold $40 million if California doesn't require truck drivers to be proficient in the English language.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So this has been a long-standing rule in America that if you're going to be a truck driver, you're going to drive an 18-wheeler, you're going to drive a school bus, you have to be proficient in the English language. So you got to be able to speak English and you have to understand road signs. It goes back decades. It's just that the rule was not being enforced. And so we're now enforcing the rule because we've seen a number of crashes where, again, these drivers, they can't read road signs. If there is a crash, they can't communicate with law enforcement. And so every state has complied, all of them except California. Which is baffling to us because, again, they should be just as concerned about safety as the rest of us. Now, the problem is if you get a CDL, a commercial driver's license in California, that license is not just for California. You can drive anywhere in the 50 states. And so these drivers from California who aren't proficient in English drive across the country. Now, other states, if they pull over those drivers, they'll flag them as not being proficient in English, and they'll take them out of service. And again, when these big rigs are taken out of service, it costs a lot of money to get a driver back in and start to move the load. So it's a significant penalty. We hope California gets on board. We've taken $40 million away from them. We also have they've also issued a lot of CDL licenses to those who are not here lawfully, or they'll issue a driver's license for 5 years, but the work permit for the migrant is only 1 year. So it extends well beyond the work permit, which encourages those who are here maybe with a work permit to stay beyond their work permit because they have a driver's license. California has to do a lot of work in looking back at their system where they gave illegal driver's licenses and revoke those. Again, this is just about safety, though, Joe. It's not about politics. It's about making sure our roads are safe.
And that's fascinating, right? Because again, we just talked about the fact if you have a driver's license in certain states, then it gives you the opportunity to vote because they're assuming that you're a citizen despite the fact that they give the driver's licenses to anybody. California apparently is one of those states. And the reason that you can drive on a California driver's license anywhere is because that's true of anywhere in the United States. It falls under something called full faith and credit. And this is something that you learn in or you should have learned in civics class. I don't think they teach civics and the Constitution and all the things that go with it in school anymore, or at least not a clean version of it. So I think we got bigger problems than this. If you're having a governor, ignore that. And well, Gavin Newsom's a tool, so of course he ignored it. Anyway, getting very tired of people like news scum. I think Commander Ed Straker of Shadow would have me say. But we covered a story last week I want to get back to because there have been some results. Man, Santa Cruz. Shame I can't share my Santa Cruz pics. Was just back in California last Christmas. Man, that's incredible. Generic Brunette lets me know that we saw tons of trucks stopped up and down I-95 over the last week. I bet you did. I bet you did. Weatherman says the Fed controls immigration, so any state or city that tries to harbor illegals is breaking federal law. Indeed, sanctuary cities are flat out just illegal. So true. Sin says, how do you communicate if the roads are rough ahead? Well, not by radio, apparently. In fact, the radio is probably largely ignored. They probably have a decent operational understanding of how to log their hours when they're driving. Catslave. California doesn't require truck drivers to know how to drive either. Yeah, we saw that. That big rig took out that family. So disgusting. Caleb, I talked to Mr. H about the state of politics way back when. But it again, a lot of what they talk about, my friend Mr. H and Bo the history bro is UK centered. So as much as I'm interested in UK politics, I certainly would be at a loss of proficiency compared to those two gentlemen. Now I can talk about American politics like crazy, up and down. When I started my first company, I spent an awful lot of time in my truck between destinations, and my listen to during the day was Rush Limbaugh. So now, mind you, I started my first company when I was in high school, so that tells you how long I've been around the conservative side of the equation. So. Reciprocal CDLs are a real problem when they come from California. That's so true. Now even more so, to be fair. Common sense ain't common in blue states, says Sid. I have to agree with you there. Hasn't been for a bit, unfortunately. Again, my love for the state of California may be diminished, but I'll never forget the incredible life experiences there. So. Mark Daly says, Gavin Newsom, I'm the worst elected official in the country. Katie Porter, hold my beer. True story. At least she didn't make it into the governor's office. That would have been even worse. Yeah. Marcelo, you're fine, my friend. You're fine. Let's see. Yep, the golden EIB microphone. My formerly nicotine-stained fingers. And that's what killed him. Hey, the Brain Trust is here. Cool stuff. All right, let's take a look at the guy who decided to fire on somebody's residence or location or building because they had a Trump sign. Again, this is something we did talk about last week. This story got some sort of a resolution in a way, and I'm glad it did. Colin Rugg actually dropped this out there in the world, and I'm glad we have it. So the guy's name, here he is. 38-year-old accountant Benjamin Michael Campbell arrested after allegedly opening fire on a MAGA supporter over a Trump sign. Here it is. Let's play this video. You guys might remember it from the last time over. I think the guy on the left is this Campbell fella, and I'm not sure who the person on the right is. Probably the person that caught the bouquet. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn that down. Anyway, he's tearing down the Trump sign, center screen at the top. Because everybody has the right to do that. And then there's the firearm out the top hatch. That looks like a 9 to me. This guy's kind of a scum. Right? He's kind of a very bad man. Yeah, that's a firearm, kids. That's a firearm. Anyway, he was arrested. He was charged with a Class C felony assault, facing 17 years in prison because he had TDS. Please don't do this, friends. I mean, even if you're angry at me right now for doing this show, even if you might never watch me again because I'm doing this show, or maybe even because I'm wearing this hat. First of all, it's just a hat. Second, just don't do this. Okay? These kinds of actions affect the rest of your life. Firing a firearm on another person, not a good idea. So yeah, IDIOT indeed. And that's a real problem. It's not good muzzle control. That's not going to be what I would criticize. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Zippy says it's short man syndrome. I don't know. That's wild. Cam says, and that isn't political violence according to the statistics that the left likes to quote, saying there is. By the way, those statistics were found to be made up and they were retracted, which everybody was whining about, especially one of the people at a Turning Point event. I think that was with, what's her name? Megyn Kelly, that they tried to pop off on that. And it was like, no, no, those were garbage statistics and they were withdrawn. So Wolfgang Prime says he gets to enjoy the eggplant and peach room in the state prison. Hooray for him. Yeah. It's not good. Not good. C&D Design says That hat is awesome, CC. MAGA, MAGA, indeed. Yeah. And I always tell people, I'm like, so you're always giving us lessons about inclusion, but you don't want America to be great again? Explain that to me, Lucy. Oh, and this is what makes me offensive. Huh? Because I'm wearing a hat that encourages the effort to make America great again. So you don't like America being great? I'm just saying. Drunk 3PO. Yeah, he's a good man. Love that guy. Love him like a brother. Yeah, I'd say this is a big L for that guy. I mean, your life is not threatened by a sign. Yeah, I need Brahmo showed up last Sunday on Sunday. You guys, okay, so I do the late night culture show, which is going to start a half hour earlier next week. But after that show, I'm going to redirect all of you over to Brahma's political show, The Bullpen. Brahma Bull's Bullpen show is brilliant. He's got great guests. Comics Division, Carrie is there. She's brilliant. Pretty much, it's a group of people who kind of know what they're talking about in matters of law and politics. I've been very well schooled in a lot of these subject items, and that's going to be a place you're going to have a lot of fun to have those conversations. Very much in the same kind of a line as the show is, going through what's been going on. So. Generic brunette says, "You're wearing a hat." I am. This is a hat. Yeah, I've got a lot of hair though. I'm wearing a lot of hair. Oh man, believe it or not, I still have to grow this 7 inches longer, guys, for my next donation. So normally the donation would be happening right around Christmas or just after my birthday, which again, my birthday month is November. So we're coming up fast on me getting old. I'm going to be the speed limit, everybody. So look out. Anyway, the guy's going to may go to jail for up to 17 years. That's really dumb. That's really dumb. Okay, so I have been talking a lot of politics. Now I want to laugh at dumb, because there's a lot of dumb in New York City, and it's not just because they're going to bring in Mamdani or anything else, but because it's just there's a lot of dumb. There's an infinite amount of dumb in New York City. Used to be very cool. Used to be wonderful to hang out at. Not so much. Not so much. So right now they're having a crisis on Billionaires Row. And if you don't know what that is, that's the row of skyscrapers that have now formed over the years that overlook the park. And it is it's kind of a crime scene as far as I'm concerned, not because of actual crime against people, although it could be very soon, but it's a crime against architecture and intellect because they built these massive skyscrapers to sell these apartments, these overpriced units to people. Some of these addresses have like wine cellars that you share in, and a lot of these other amenities that only exist in places like this with incredibly wealthy people. Some of these apartments are $100 million or more, and they built a building that's very broken, like in like an entirely different way than things can be broken. Let's, you know what? I'm going to just, instead of explaining it, I'm going to show you. So experts fear that notorious Billionaires Row monolith could rain chunks of concrete on New York City if cracks are not addressed. This is the report around it. This came out on the 20th, which was yesterday in the evening. This is a big, big problem. The location is 432 Park Avenue, and the concrete facade. It's actually facade, but somebody said facade in a movie, and I thought that was funny. It's it's 1,400 foot, 96 floors, Billionaires Row Tower that reaches high above Midtown's skyline and has been splitting, fissuring, and left with pieces missing since it was completed in 2015. Guys, this isn't just bad engineering, it's terrible contracting on top of it all. And an alarming study from the New York Times, who, their credibility could be stretched, was actually released on Sunday. So the problem is, and this started back in 2015, the problem is so bad that the super tall skyscraper could be left uninhabitable if major restoration isn't completed soon. They need $160 million in renovation work, and they need it now. That's the tower. .432 Park opened in 2015. 125 units sold for about $2.5 billion. A decade later, it has many problems. I bet it does. Water could begin seeping into the cracks, destroying the building from the inside out. Right now, you can't take the elevators. Mechanical systems start to fail. Pipe joints start to break, and you could get water leaks all over the place. This thing is going to fall apart. So, in the 125 units, which have amazing views of Central Park, and access to a private restaurant, the $2.5 billion in sales to celebrities like Jennifer Lopez, Alex Rodriguez, and Saudi royalty just 3 years after its unveiling. So unavailable apartments range from, or I should say available apartments range from 2-bedroom and 2.5 bath on the 52nd floor to $10.5 million to a palatial 6-bedroom abode with 6 full baths and 2 half baths and a staggering $55 million. Whoo! Crazy. But let's not have the building fall apart, okay? So this image is a corner of 432 Park's facade that appears to have chunks of concrete missing. It appears. Only in New York. There's a bunch of ongoing legal battles about this between the board and the developers, including Maclo Properties, WSP, and Sim Group. Apparently, the facade problems were reportedly known risks while building was still under construction. Crazy. I just thought that's an interesting story, and it gives us a break from the political mayhem that we've been suffering. But I really think it's dangerous for buildings that tall to fall on people, let alone chunks of concrete and everything else. So, yeah. In the words of my friend, Mexican Iron Man, that's no bueno. Me and Bamhammer says, in case I forget to do it around your birthday, as Thor 2011 says, will you are an old man and fool. Well, thank you. True story. Isn't that weird? What do you guys think of that? I'm looking to see what you have to say. Culture Casino. You're dapper no matter what hat you wear. No, I love this hat. Don't misunderstand. But it's a hat. Richard B goes, "Oh wow, that's not good." No. No. The engineers care about making it cheap and cool for their clients. Forgot about safety and well-built buildings. Well, we need those more now than ever, I'd say. We also need attractions to be safe. We're going to see if a few of them are in the near future. Greetings to the Rumble crowd, indeed. Where is this tower? It's Midtown. It's overlooking the park, Central Park. It has incredible views. I've seen apartment showings there in that building. I would not buy an apartment in that building or anywhere within its falling distance. So you're going to have to figure out how far that thing will fall and how far the debris will roll. I'm just saying. Culture Casino, how about that? That bridge that was taken out by a UKR ship a year or two ago. Not a peep about that. Yeah, it's really weird. We haven't heard much follow up on that. Free to think. How the power, how that was making the ship move, mysteriously went out. It's starting to get a little weird. Very weird. Spirian says the obvious thing. Thank you, Spirian. I would never want to live in a place like that. Me either. Me either. When I start to get that high, that's when I get a little fear of heights. Because to me, if I can get out in a reasonable, safe way through like some kind of fire escape device, that's fine. But I don't think there's any reasonable way to get out of there other than, base jumping. To be fair. So, yeah. And you need an alarm to tell you that the building is just tipped so that base jumping is still an option while you're sleeping. I'm just saying. And Mac in the house saying that building has been a nightmare. The condo owners have been suing the builders. They need to do it more to the tune of 160 million or whatever. Yeah. Worse yet, that's not even the worst thing in New York right now, folks. And I think you probably know where I'm going with this since this is a political show. But no, the worst thing in New York is the current candidate for mayor. That particular race seems to be all but stagnant. But it's darn close to fixed at this point, and I'm not sure anybody's going to come to their senses and figure out that Mamdani is bad news. Well, I'm just going to remind you that he has some very odd and problematic what's the word? Allegiances. Let's say it that way. So Mamdani, I'm gonna try and get out the whole article up here now. Mamdani betrays moderate Muslims by palling around with extremists. This is true. Some images capture a memory we desperately want to forget and a future we fear to face. When Zohran Mamdani, the frontrunner for mayor, posed a photo with a grinning arm-in-arm imam named Siraj Wahaj of Masjid al-Taqwa on Friday, he made a statement that reawakened the trauma and terror of the attacks on New York. Well, one of the reasons we let off with the building story. Visiting a radical Islamist like Wahaj was not just another stop on Mamdani's campaign, but part of a pattern of aligning with extremists. And there they are. Those guys are pals. Those are buddies. Yeah. If you live in New York City, this if you get this guy, things won't be looking up for a lot of different reasons. Some politicians justify such alliances through ignorance of the countless shades of Muslims and Islamists, but with Mamdani's rich cultural background and corruption and places he came from, he should know better. He should understand the distinction between extremists and moderates. It raises a serious question about whether Mamdani intentionally chose Wahhaj or and his ilk as allies in his campaign. Yikes. Silwa's not quitting, by the way. Wahhaj's name appeared on a list of unindicted conspirators in the 1993 World Trade Center issue. He testified in court as a character witness for the Egyptian bad guy, Omar Abdel Rahman, known as the Blind Sheikh, who led the Salafi jihadist organization Al-Gama al-Islamiyah and conspired to assassinate Egypt's then president Hosni Mubarak. And of course, the big explodey thing in the New York tunnels and the FBI headquarters. So this guy is just a regular party time dude. This is not looking good for you folks in New York City. Because another thing this Mamdani dude wants to do, that's pictured here with this Terry person, is to defund the police. How do you think that's going to go? I'm just curious. This is very weird. I can't believe we're talking about this in New York City, but we are. People have short memories, apparently. 1993 to me wasn't that long ago. Of course, at my age, it's like right in the middle. Marcelo says, CC, ODD allegiances. Man is straight up leftist. Man is all about himself. Of course. Yeah, he's a bad man. He's a very bad man. Hey, what's going on, James Dosher? I hope you're still writing. Says they will get the government they deserve. All right. Well, it's going to be an absolute disaster. Got another super duper chat from our good friend Archer Merchant. When it's the low bar, they find a way to lower it. Yep. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to limbo under this one, Archer. And thank you for the super chat. Mark saying the smart thing out loud. No New Yorkers are allowed to move to Florida unless they prove they don't vote Mamdani. Don't New York my Florida. Indeed. Massive red gains in Florida. Crazy stuff. And this is true statement. This is actually a conversation about what they're trying to do. Mamdani doesn't want police to be going to domestic disturbance issues. And, they're definitely going to try to bring in theocracy law, which is illegal here in the United States. So you can't replace the actual law with that, but that's a different conversation. Yeah. Thank you, Con. CC needs hooked on phonics. I'm doing better than my friend Jay. Drunk 3PO couldn't have read half that stuff. I'm just saying. Jeff Elm says he never said defund the police, but his quotes are everywhere online. Indeed. Yeah. Again, he's a politician. Do you expect them not to lie? I would like to believe that people are always telling you the truth, but I don't want to even pretend that they are, because they say one thing. What's more important than what they say? How they act. And finally, wow, DJ Ronnie G in the house saying, what can I do? Silva needs to have less of a chance than Cuomo. He does. And yeah, I'd rather get Cuomo over Mamdani. Me too. And that's a big problem, right? Now you're really at a choice of voting for the lesser of two other evils. Because Cuomo's basically, the person that made sure that a lot of elderly passed in places where they just rapidly were passing around something that was very, very dangerous and in our health crisis period. So kind of hold that dude accountable a little bit. And he and his brother were kind of lying back and forth. I really am not a big fan of Chris, but that's a different conversation, especially since he's been caught doing really dumb things lately. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're in a bad time, and New York City is even worse off. Worse yet, Democrats are doing so poorly in a lot of their elections, including in New Jersey and a couple of other places, that a former president is going to go out on the campaign trail. This is the last guy I would want have to come in and start talking favorably about me. But I know that's just me. I just know he's got a lot of problems that are being reinvestigated right now, like how his very capable at swimming and paddleboarding chef ended up naked and drowned in a 4-foot pond. You guys don't remember that one? Maybe you do. I don't know. But we're in a wild, wild stretch here. It's wild. That's right. The man returns. Barack Hussein Obama, with legacy on the line. Obama hitting campaign trail to boost Democrats in key governor elections, because he doesn't want more states turning red and then removing all the locked out seats with redistricting. So there's that. So he's headed out to New Jersey and Virginia, which are both now very competitive races, considering that Winsome Sears is a far better candidate than Spanbanger or whatever her name is. Spanaberger, Spana something. And what's weird is I think her name's Mickey. She's like the least trustable human being on the planet. So yeah, Democrats are infusing even more money and resources into those disasters. One of the reasons in New Jersey is that AG candidate who self-imploded. Winsome Sears' recent ads are really making headway. So Barack Obama will headline rallies in New Jersey and Virginia, with only 2 states in the nation to hold gubernatorial contests this year after the presidential election, which will be soon. We're coming up on it, just a couple weeks away. 3 weeks out, I think. Anyway, so the DNC announced an additional $500,000 investment to get out the vote, which means bussing in every homeless person they can grab off the street, even if it's in another state, and taking them there to vote. Yeah, I know that's going to get me in trouble, but I don't care. Democrats who are aiming to escape the political wilderness after last year's stunning election setbacks when they lost the White House, the Senate, majority and the House. I have a feeling they're going to struggle to do the House again this year, especially after redistricting and everything else going on. So the VRA is going to help an awful lot. And Winsome Sears on the left here, awesome. She's a 2A gal. And she really is taking it to this terrible Abigail Spanberger, who supports the criminal desires of that Jay fella. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So Citarelli's campaign claimed that Obama's upcoming appearance on the New Jersey campaign trail is a sign of weakness for the Democrats. Yep. Again, another know-nothing blonde on the right-hand side. mycj Cheryl. She's not real bright. Citarelli's making great headway. Plus, wonderful Italian name, don't you think? Citarelli. So, we got to love it. All right. I'm running out of time, folks. So I want to spend the last 4 minutes not on all these other stories and clips and everything else, even though we probably should. I just want to say that we may finally get something we've been looking for a long, long time. And it's my friend Benny Johnson that actually is bringing us this news, which is great. Which is great news. It's going to be great news indeed. And I just want to give it to you guys. Boom. So, Benny Johnson was talking to Daryl Issa, who says that Adam Schiff could be the next indicted as soon as the government reopens, and says no one in Congress will even protest it. He lied in plain sight. He should be held accountable. So let me play the clip. Let me know what you think. This is 3 minutes, 45 seconds. I'll break it up into a few pieces to take your comments along the way. Here we go.
I want to give you the last word here, Congressman. Obviously, we have just massive respect for you and your work, especially on the Judiciary Committee. A bit of a legend there. But you serve on this committee. There's obviously been a considerable amount of indictments, James Comey, Letitia James, John Bolton. And there's many people, little birdies chirping at us saying they're just getting started. Can you give me some insight into what's going to happen in the judiciary? What can we expect when the government reopens and when the gears start turning again?
Well, we have a very, very large amount of subpoenas out there, some of which are going on. We're still doing the depositions and so on, and even during the closure, that's still business we're allowed to do. So we're going to be prepared when we reopen. And you hit just a good example of the tip of the iceberg. There are lots of people who were guilty of false statements and criminal activity, Adam Schiff being one of them, we all know, that hasn't been indicted. But, you know, he not only lied in plain sight.
He lied in plain sight. You betcha. And real quickly, a super duper chat from our friend JPRPH1 says, hey, have this super sticker. This is going to help me get through the day. It's a cup of coffee. Thank you, my friend. Cup of coffee I definitely need. I have had the yawns all day. So there's that. Thank you, JPRPH1. Much appreciated. Let's drop this other amazing super duper chat from our friend Mark Daly, who says the chef died because he overheard the Obamas arguing. Michelle told Barack, "You're not the man I married," and Barack shouted back, "Neither are you." That's a good joke. I'm going to get in trouble for that, but it's okay. It was a good joke. And it's a super chat. I have to read it, YouTube. I have to read it. So thank you, Mark. Let's continue here. Here we go.
And disclosed information, but he vilified his fellow colleagues falsely. So, you know, should he be held accountable? Absolutely. Is the Attorney General looking at it? Absolutely. Will anyone in Congress feel that it is unfair if he is indicted for his criminal activity? I don't think so, not a bit.
Wow. His fellow co-workers in the Senate currently, but formerly in the House, because, you know, he upgraded when he could in the last election. But nobody's going to feel bad for him. That's wild. Wild. Cotton 4K. That's right.
Really?
Man.
The senator from your state is, you're saying that he's going to be indicted?
Well, I'm saying that he could well be indicted. He committed crimes in plain sight. People know that he made false statements, that he revealed information, that he abused his office, and he did so at a high cost. And you know, look, the president has taken a little bit of a pushback. You know, you see him tweeting, but he's not calling the attorney general into his office and saying, "Go do this." Just the opposite. She has a great team that is doing their job, including obviously the FBI. But the fact that it's 7 or 8 months, if Trump was going to weaponize, those indictments would have been on day 1 or day 2. The fact is that investigations are going on. The attorney general and the FBI director, they're doing their job, and they're finding appropriate places to do it.
And basically, he's playing it's being slow rolled and investigated properly. And man, if Adam Schiff gets his just desserts, well, I don't think anybody here is going to be whining about it. And again, when people say it's weaponizing the Justice Department, I'm like, it's far less than what was done against the previous administration, especially now that we've seen just how much collusion was going on in the background, even before he took office. This Comey thing is going to go poorly. He's already got an attorney that's conflicted. I'm not sure how that's going to get worked out. There's a bunch of other stuff going on in the background. Not to mention, Comey's daughter lost 2 enormous cases that she shouldn't have. And now it looks really bad. You know, the previous DOJ, quite garbage. I don't care what anybody says. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about today. If you guys have anything to add, you are welcome to do so. I'm going to go back to the chat, see if I can see what's what, and then we are going to bounce out of here. Now, is there any place you would like to go, folks? Because I can send you bouncing off to another location. I think Tuesday night's main event is one of those things. I'm not sure if they started yet or not, but there's all kinds of stuff going on out there in the world, I'm sure. Timmy, what's going on, Tim? Good to see you, buddy. And let's see. Wolfgang Prime once again says, CC, thanks for all that. You bet. Thank you for all being here. Of the at one point in time, over 200 and change of you guys were here, and I appreciate that. You guys are absolutely the best. Oh, you're very welcome, Richard B. And like I said, facts matter. And that's one of the things I want to focus on is the facts of the day. Today, I didn't get a chance to put together a montage for you. So unfortunately, you just have to suffer the outro. So if you've never been here before, be prepared. There is a line in here that a lot of people like to say. They say, "Ayo, ayo." This is one of the only songs on my channel that has a bad word in it. So I just want to warn you in advance. And it seems to be everybody's favorite, which I don't understand. But after all, it's a good song. All right, let's get to it. I hope everybody has a great end of your Tuesday and a happy Wednesday. I hope to see you tomorrow morning on the 6 Minute Daily, the morning podcast, which is Monday to Friday. Tomorrow will be bonus time and promotion of everything else that's happening, including the WDW Pro 200K celebration. That's right. After just a little bit over a year, Pro went sailing by me and pretty much all of my friends and jumped up to 200K. And I'm still here with your help trying to get to 50. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.
Yeah. Some Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed?
Quick shout out and thank you to the most reliable person on the internet for 2 Culture Casino Cash. Says the most important thing: cancel Disney Plus for Frank's sake. True story. See ya.
I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes my dynasty.